You ever come home from a long trip, dead tired, just dreaming of collapsing on your couch, only to find your backyard's been turned into a beach party by your neighbor who cut down your fence with a chainsaw? Yeah, that actually happened to me, and no, this isn't one of those we laughed about it later kind of stories. My name's Matt. I live in Cedarbrook Heights, in the house my dad built with his own two hands. It's not flashy, but it's got history. Especially the cedar fence he put up plank by flank. That fence was his pride and joy, and when he passed, I made it my job to take care of the place the way he would have wanted. Things were peaceful until Angela Monroe moved in next door. Let me tell you this woman. She rolled up with a moving truck and an attitude like the neighborhood owed her something. Within a week, she was already filing complaints about my shed being too tall, the bushes being too fluffy, and how my backyard was unfairly spacious. Yeah, her words. At first I brushed it off, figured she'd get bored, and move on. I was wrong. I came home from a work trip, rolled into my driveway, and instantly knew something was off. I stepped out, looked toward the backyard, and my chest just tightened 30 feet of my cedar fence. Gone. Just gone. Torn to pieces, splinters on the ground, like it got hit by a tornado. Except it wasn't weather, it was Angela and her chainsaw. Before I could even react, Mrs. Palmer, my neighbor across the street, comes rushing over, eyes wide, hands shaking. Matt. She says I tried to stop her. I really did. But she told me she was reclaiming her property and waved a chainsaw around like it was nothing. Apparently, Angela decided that part of my backyard fence and all actually belonged to her. And she wasn't just cutting down a fence. She was taking land. I looked past the debris and saw it. Flamingo's inflatable pool, a lawn chair, and spray paint on my grass that read Tua Tua. New property line, and there she was, Angela in a sun hat, sipping some pink drink through a twisty straw like she was queen of the cul-de-sac. She saw me and grinned. Took you long enough, she said, like I was late to some party she'd planned on. My land. You were gone too long, so I made some corrections. I asked her what the hell she thought she was doing, and she hits me with adverse possession. You should look it up. Your yard was overgrown. I fixed it. We're even now. I had to walk away. I was shaking. That fence wasn't just wood, it was my dad. It was his time, his effort, his legacy. And she destroyed it with zero shame. That night, my other neighbor, Frank, sent me a video his son took Angela chainsaw in hand, chopping away like she was clearing brush in the Amazon. The next morning, I called the cops. Officer showed up, took some pictures, nodded a few times, then told me, get this, that it was a civil matter. Said there was no theft, no injuries, just a dispute. I was stunned. Angela watched from her chair, didn't even try to look concerned. But then it got worse. The next day, I spotted a new sign stuck in my lawn for rent. Backyard suite. Call Angela. I'm not kidding. She was trying to rent out my backyard like it was hers. I stormed over, pulled the sign out and banged on her door. She threw it open like she was expecting me and yelled, "You touch that sign again, I'm calling the police for harassment." I told her, "You're trying to rent out land you stole," and she actually said, "Until a judge says otherwise, it's mine." At that point, I wasn't mad. I was ready for war. I dug through everything my dad ever filed away, found the original survey map, fence receipts, even photos of him building it. Then I called David Marks, an old-school property attorney, who turns out knew my dad back in the day. When he heard what happened, he said, "No way we're letting this slide." We filed an emergency injunction the next day. David started gathering evidence, witness statements, the video, the HOA's documentation, and then out of nowhere, Angela countersued me. Said my fence was rotting wood, and on her property, her evidence, a Google Maps screenshot with a red line she drew with a pen. In court, she walked in like she was on reality TV. Pantsuit giant sunglasses, thick folder clutched to her chest. I was nervous at first, but then the judge, stern older woman with silver hair, asked Angela to explain. She went on about correcting property lines and land she was entitled to. Then handed over her hand-drawn map like it was official. The judge looked at it, raised one eyebrow and said, "These lines were done in pen." Angela smiled and said, "Yes, but I used a ruler. They're precise." You could hear the courtroom stifle a laugh. Then David stood up, dropped the certified survey, the photos, video, HOA letters, and neighbor testimonies on the judge's desk like a mic drop. Even pointed out that Angela's contractor was an unlicensed guy with a prison record. The judge didn't even hesitate. Banged the gavel and said Angela had 48 hours to get every single item off my property. She had to cover the full cost of fence replacement, pay for damages, and eat all the court fees. Angela lost it. "This is a miscarriage of justice. I'm a homeowner. I have rights." And the judge just looked over her glasses and said yes. And homeowners are also expected to follow the law. When I got home, the Flamingos pool and sign were gone. A week later, the new fence was up, same rich cedar, even taller this time. And get this, the new survey revealed that my dad's fence was actually 3 feet inside my land. So now Angela's yard got even smaller. Word got around fast. No one wanted to buy her house. She had to slash the price so low that a sweet retired couple finally moved in. They brought me fresh pears on their first weekend. Said they loved the smell of cedar. So yeah, I got my land back and my peace. But that fence, it means more now than it ever did. Now let me ask you this. If your neighbor cut down your fence and claimed your yard, how would you handle it? Was I right to go nuclear? Or should I have tried to reason with her? Drop your take in the comments. I'm real curious how you draw the line.